Hello, I'm Megan Lee, back again. Now we're talking with my Honorary Market Mayor Michael Yaeger about this, and his daughter Mercedes Yaeger, who has grown up in the market and gives tours, including the famous ghost tours. We're talking with them today about this term celebration retail and what that means. Michael, could you give us a little insight?
Well, yeah, it's a market way of doing business. The most famous of all is, of course, Pike plays fish, the throwing of the fish. Out of that evolved the fish philosophy, the books, the videos that corporations all over the world now study and use and get their people to learn from it for their own accomplishments in the business world.
So people come to see the fish throwing as well as learn about the philosophy behind the business model.
Yes, but that is only the most known example of what I call celebration retail. Mm-hmm. You have people all through the market that do this. The city fish people, they use a tennis ball with a slice. People that can order out on the main arcade. The fishmonger throws the sliced tennis ball with the order and the credit card or the money in the slice, and they throw it back when the transaction is completed. The magic shop, you go down there, there's always a show, like in the feature film, there's a show of a trick, a simple trick. Of course, if you do it once, like it says in the film, they won't necessarily do it a second time unless maybe you pay for it.
First time's free. Huh?
Yeah. All through the market you will find this celebration retail in effect. All the craftspeople in their fancy hats, so forth. Mercedes, my daughter, has a great slant on this. Hi, Mercedes.
Hi, Daniel.
This is Mercedes. Wait,
Hey. Hello. Hi.
About the history of celebration retail. This is not a new thing.
The very first day the market opened in 1907, there were just a few farmers that showed up. The second farmer was so overtaken by customers that they climbed on top of his cart and started throwing vegetables into the crowd. So throwing things like fish at the market, that's nothing new. And of course, the first market master was a man named Arthur Goodwin, and his office was right next door to where we're sitting right now. And he'd come to work dressed in a top hat, and he was known to wear a suit with tails and be quite a dancer and a mimic of dialects down here in the market. He hired vaudeville actors to entertain customers throughout the entire market. So there was this whole show that was from the very beginning, from 1907, 1909 to 2007, where it's still going on today.
In fact, Megan, we're called the first theme shopping center ever. That's what it's been dubbed. Because Frank Goodwin had a flair, as well as his nephew, Arthur. All those pillars with the little lights coming out and all that kind of stuff is Frank's.
The arcs and the
arches
theatrical lighting.
Yes. See, Arthur Goodwin was a New York thespian. He was a Shakespearean actor. Mm-hmm. And if all that lighting and all that kind of stuff is all out of their minds. Even including if you look at the farmer's market sign, it almost looks like some sort of Oriental bazaar.
Yeah, through the arcades, all the
Yes.
recognizable signs and so forth.
Main reason why is because Rudolph Valentino was very famous with all those desert things. That's the time that it was created.
Yeah, vaudeville was so important, and there were theaters that lined First Avenue. And so, you know, really to compete with the theaters, you had to be a show yourself.
It's interesting insight on these unusual merchants and the thoughts behind the celebration retail. Anything else you'd like to say about it, or?
Well, yeah. The management has taken up the theme as well because they do this wonderful flower arrangements all through the market. Right now we can see the carrots going out for Christmas and things. Yeah, the pigs, you know.
Pigs on parade?
It's all celebration.
What about Starbucks? I know that's a famous one that people come to see in the market. We have an ad from Starbucks, and what our first issue in '73 says now 2 locations. And now we hear they're opening about 2,000 a week internationally. What about comments on that?
Yeah, I'll give you a nice little inside comment. I was on the craft line. Mercedes was the little market rat when we started here 25 years ago. Knew Ed Linebacker, Zev Ziegel, and Gordy Balker, the original founders of the Starbucks, about 5 of them. they opened up their shop and they had all these fancy coffee makers, right? Celebration Retail. And I, on the craft line, thought, how in the world are these guys going to make it? How are they going to do it? How can they invest so much money in these exotic coffee machines and things?
This was about 1973, like you
Yeah.
said.
Well, the rest is history, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's so many small businesses that have grown out of this market, and I honestly think that the Pike Place Market as an incubator and for businesses extends to the whole city of Seattle. It's part of the spirit in the city, and here's where you meet the people that carry on that spirit, the producers, and it really is the soul of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it all started at the Klondike Gold Rush.
Yeah.
The Seattle PI wrote a big banner saying, "Ton of gold arriving in Seattle." It went all over the wire services. I guess it was a few $100s for the gold on the ship. But kabam, Seattle became the port of entry into the Klondike Gold Rush.
Yeah.
And beating out San Francisco, Portland, Vancouver, Victoria. Port Townsend was a big player at that time, and Tacoma, of course. But it was Seattle that got the...
Assayer's office and
That's right.
the go-ahead.
Yeah.
And if you go earlier and you go to Doc Maynard, one of our city's founders. If you wanted to own land in Seattle, you had to open a business on your property within 90 days. And if you failed to do so, you lost your property. So that's part of the city's spirit from the very, very beginning.
It's quick. Wasn't it Steinbeck and Travels with Charlie? Seattle's such a great town. Why do they keep tearing it down? And he was talking about the cyclical nature. So it's great to see the market surviving that. I mean, it goes. I think people say it changes, but it stays the same. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys see that?
Incubator business. The point is that only startup businesses can start here. Some go very big, like Starbucks or things like this, as I mentioned in the feature film. But this is a big deal here. The whole city. I mean, Nordstrom's came out of the gold rush, Bon Marché, many shops. Even the relatives of the Starbucks founders, they came here because of the gold rush and brought their ideas, the seeds for a company like Starbucks to grow and become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special place to be. Well,
Now, I got one more thing I gotta say.
Okay.
Do you want to say something?
No.
Starbucks is the classic.
yeah.
We're on the craft line at the time. She's running around with her brother, scurrying about, and Starbucks is over there. Well, this was outside, and it was cold, and there was about 400 or more craft people and farmers. Actually, there was more, and we all needed a strong cup of coffee. Where did we go? Starbucks. We were their main customers. The symbiotic relationship of the market. And it gave Starbucks the 3 years or so it needed till, the guy, what's his name?
Schultz.
Charles Schultz?
Yeah, it was. He came in around in 1979. Howard Schultz.
Yes.
Starbucks opened 71, I think. So
Yeah.
it's By the time he walked into that door and they served him that cup of coffee, well,
Yeah, it was pretty well. But
you know,
He knew what he was gonna do.
they
Oh, yeah.
had finessed their point of sale and their celebration retail was at a point where someone could walk in with several $1 million and take it to where it's at now.
Yeah.
But it was all in place before he walked in the door.
because of the market, they had their customers ready. They're us.
And there's still
So they owe us.
No, they don't.
There's still a host of really interesting businesses in the market, from the Pink Door to Don and Joe's Meats to all the, just throughout, every nook and cranny, you'll find a merchant who's working to stand out.
Yeah, the Pink Door, she goes under trapeze. De Laurentiis is a classic. These people are quality people, well dressed. They look good. They look real good. And they know what they're doing. Same thing.
They played a part.
Yeah, that's another key about celebration retail. The people who work these shops know what they're doing. They're not sitting there just doing the cash register. They know their product, and they know celebration retail. They know how to sell.
Their specialization, almost kind of like a small Manhattan, where everybody has their little niche,
Yeah.
and people go to look for that.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking today.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Get out there and shop, yeah?
We're gonna go shop, shop, shop. Shoppers with a vengeance.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Well, thank you.
Good day.
Right.